Well, all this month, we've been sharing stories of Black excellence, culture, and resilience. Introducing you to Cleveland Trailblazers, both known and unknown. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tiffany Tucker.
And I'm Chris Fry. Tonight, we begin with a Cleveland Black history legend you've probably never heard of. Cheryl White made history right here at Thistledown Racetrack in 1971, riding her first race at age 17, becoming America's first Black female jockey.
But her brother says she's still vastly unknown. That is why her family is sharing her legacy. Here's See a New Yorker.
Moving along strongly out on the lead with Sticks in second. Top Flight's being hard ridden on the outside. Still has lead. Sticks is now coming up on the outside. And HM Spacer, NBR Secret Cash in Sticks. NBR Secret Cash.
July 25th, 1992 at Los Alamitos Racecourse in Cypress, California. Jockey Cheryl White captured her final trophy and quietly retired from horse racing with more than 750 career wins. She was at the top of her game, setting records, but her brother Raymond White Jr. says hardly anyone knew it.
She didn't think of herself as a big deal. She had her friends, she wanted to ride races, be a jockey, and do her job, and she didn't brag about herself.
But she was a trailblazer, the first licensed Black female jockey in America. Cheryl was born into a horse family and raised on a 400-acre horse farm in Rome Township, Ohio. Her father, Raymond White Sr., was a well-known and accomplished thoroughbred trainer, and her mother, Doris Jean Gorski, owned several racehorses. Under her father's tutelage, Cheryl rode her first race at Thistledown Racino in 1971. She was 17 years old, 5'3", 107 pounds, and sat astride her father's horse, Ace Reward. Raymond Jr. was 9 years old and says he'll never forget.
But here she was, 17 years old, riding her first race in front of the equivalent of a rookie baseball player walking out to a sold-out crowd.
Do you think Cheryl knew at that time, at that young age, the magnitude of that moment?
She did, but kind of just brushed it off. She was humble. She didn't think of herself as that big of a deal.
The young girl broke barriers, making headlines, receiving accolades from around the globe, but yet and still, throughout her storied career, Cheryl White remained vastly unknown. Raymond Jr. tells me his sister never discussed it at the time, but he later learned some of what troubled her.
The sexism thing was huge. I mean, female jockeys were being yelled at, told to go home, go cook some eggs in the kitchen, make breakfast. What are you doing out here? Eventually, she stopped talking about those things. If you see later on interviews with her, she was basically like, I haven't faced any real racism or sexism. It was almost like somebody told her to be quiet.
After winning her last race in 1992, Cheryl became an accredited racing official and made a career out of it. Cheryl White died of a heart attack in 2019 at the age of 65. Now her family is beating the path where she left off and trying to restake her place in horse racing glory. In 2021, Raymond Jr. got a call from New York Times reporter Sarah Maslanier, who wanted to know more about his sister Cheryl.
I heard about her story and I was really stunned that me, again, this big horse nerd, didn't know about it. I found this 1971 magazine with this beautiful girl beaming from a horse. It said, "Teenage girl breaks barriers on the track." And how could I not know her?
Maslanier says Cheryl was an athlete in a sport that has been slow and late to fully celebrate the contributions of Blacks and women. So she and Cheryl's family joined to set the record. Raymond Jr. and Maslanier co-authored a children's book released last year in September, The Jockey and Her Horse, inspired by Cheryl White. Raymond Jr. and the family also created the Cheryl White Project to, quote, ensure that the legacy of America's first Black female jockey doesn't get lost to bygone memories.
So we've done a lot, and we're not done. So that's the whole thing. We're not done, and we're not done, and we're not done.
See a New Yorker, 19 News.
Incredible story. All right, to this. If you've gone to a Cavs game, most likely you've probably seen him, and surely you've heard his voice.
But as the in-arena host for the Cavs for almost 2 decades, Ahmad Crump's influence reaches far beyond the court.
He sat down with our Shannon Smith to explain how.
More than 20 years
Yeah,
with the organization.
Right.
That's a feat.
I never, thought that it would turn into this. I was working for a law firm before I started here.
Oh,
and-
he's a lawyer.
Oh, well, I wanted to be a lawyer.
When I started working here with the organization in 2003, I was a part of the Cavs' inaugural Scream Team.
Oh,
Yeah, Scream Team. So
which still exists.
I tried out to be the host, and I didn't make it. I used to host, talent shows in college and things like that or whatnot, but never hosted in front of 20,000 people before. So I used to love game shows as a kid. My friends knew not to come over my house in the summertime until 12 o'clock. That's when Price is Right comes on. Shout out to show 19. Well, one of my co-hosts with me today, she says she called in sick. They asked me to fill in. And that was the opportunity that I needed. That was in November the 17th. 2005 against the Denver Nuggets. I'll never forget. And then the following season, they said, you know what? Quit the law firm and work here full time.
So when did you kind of make that transition or have that idea that like, okay, this isn't just going to be a Friday night thing with the games, like I'm going to expand my
Right.
impact beyond?
When LeBron left the first time, I had to find a way just to make an impact because his first time leaving, it was a big blow to the city. And not a lot of fans showed up to all the games. If it's court renovations or if it's any type of thing where we're giving back to the community, I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be a staple of the organization.
What's it like to you two to be a black man, part of this organization for so long, and just to be doing this? I mean, most of the time, young kids, young black men are seeing players.
Yeah.
Right? But even with the Cavs organization, you're seeing a coach, you're seeing an in-arena host, in addition to the players.
I've been a Cavs fan my whole life, and for years, it wasn't like that at all. We have a lot of senior leadership that is, African American, and it's like, wow, this is like really cool.
Do you ever like see fans or get any messages or that kind of chokes you up because you're like, man, I mean, I knew I was doing something, but this makes it matter all the more.
Absolutely. This happened probably about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was getting my tea, and he just said there, you're Ahmad, right? I'm like, yeah. And he says, you might not remember me, but you came to my school, Shaw High School, when I was in the ninth grade. And he just said that your words just told me to keep going and don't let my situations define who I am. This was 3 years ago. He was starting his first year of law school at Case. And he just said that, I just want to let you know that it was your words that inspired me to keep going.
It's time to let them know.
What do we see, 20 more years?
As long as they keep me around, the good Lord keeps me breathing.
Shannon Smith, 19 News.
All right, well, the city of Cleveland tonight honoring Black History Month with its annual homecoming celebration in the City Hall Rotunda.
Everything from giveaways to food, vendors, and historians. The city's event wrapped up next Thursday with a luncheon honoring Cleveland's hidden figures.
And they said that they're looking for the best and the brightest. I said, well, hell, I don't have anything to worry about. They're looking for me.
Well, he's a part of U.S. history most of us have never heard about.
We are hearing from a Cleveland military and legal legend next.
Black History Month, a time to celebrate the strength, resilience, and brilliance of the black community. Join 19 News in celebrating Black History Month.
Where are all our heart health stories? I don't see them.
All right, welcome back. A Black History highlight now on the Montford Point Marines, the first black men allowed to join the U.S. Marine Corps.
Out of the nearly 20,000 black men who served, including in World War II, only about 350 are still alive. Our Harry Boomer sat down with one of those distinguished gentlemen, James R. Willis.
And they said that they're looking for the best and the brightest. I said, well, hell, I don't have anything to worry about. They're looking for me.
At 97, James Willis is a Cleveland military and legal legend, practicing law, still since 1952. He's a part of American history most of us have never heard about. He is among the Montford Point Marines, the first black man allowed to join the U.S. Marine Corps.
He said it don't rain in the Marine Corps. It rains on the Marine Corps. So you have to understand that.
That's what a drill sergeant told him when he became one of the nearly 20,000 black men who enlisted and trained at the segregated Montford Point at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Mr. Willis volunteered in March of 1944 after President Roosevelt issued Executive Order 8802, integrating the armed forces.
What was it like for you? I know it was rough, but when you went down to Montford Point, just off of Camp Lejeune.
North Carolina had to be the worst segregated state in the Union.
The officers who trained them were white, and most of them treated the black recruits badly. But Mr. Willis remembers finding at least one ally, a lieutenant.
But he was as liberal as they come, and he always defended us.
That's great and great to hear. Because as Dr. King said so many times, we didn't get here by ourselves. There are others who don't look like us who helped us along the way. You know, we cannot forget those who fought beside us and with us and for us.
I'll never forget him.
When the Montford Point Marines were allowed to go to the front lines, they worked honorably in service and supply units, the mules of war, hauling heavy equipment and munitions from battle to battle during World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Out of necessity, many of them picked up guns and fought for their country. Willis remembers landing near Nagasaki, Japan.
I was out on the Pacific, headed for Japan as a part of the invasion force when they dropped the second atomic bomb.
He made it home and went to college.
Carl Stokes, for example, was at West Virginia State with me. He's got a federal building named after him.
Both became Cleveland lawyers. Mr. Willis successfully defended one of the most notorious mob bosses in the city, Chandra Burns, considered public enemy #1 at the time. He died in a car bomb, reportedly at the request of fellow mobster Danny Green. He still practices as a criminal defense attorney.
I might add, I've been rather successful in it. I argued personally 4 cases in the United States Supreme Court. As a matter of fact, I was elected as the first black president of the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, and that's the largest criminal defense organization in the country.
In 2012, former Speaker of the U.S. House from Ohio, John Boehner, presided at the ceremony where Mr. Willis and other Montford Point Marines were honored with the Congressional Gold Medals, the country's highest U.S. civilian award.
So the law has been good to me. I graduated from Case Western Reserve Law School in 1952. That was an honor.
Mr. James R. Willis, truly a Cleveland Black History legend. Harry Boomer, 19 News.
Thank you for this service, Mr. Willis. Incredible story there. A neighborhood clinic is looking to close the care gap for black patients in Northeast Ohio.
And they're getting a lot of support to make that dream a reality. That story is next. And you can find more about Cleveland's Black History Makers, plus all of our Black History Month reports at cleveland19.com.
And just scan that QR code on your screen. It'll take you right to the Black History Month section on the homepage.
I have this thing that I do called my Delulu series, which is cakes that I create that nobody ordered, but I'd say, like, if Beyonce were to call and ask for a cake, this is what I would do.
Here, boo.
Oh, they haven't turned the camera around.
You're watching 19 News, Black History Month, celebrating Cleveland's Trailblazers.
Well, throughout Black History Month, we're sharing stories of leaders changing lives right in our neighborhoods.
Yeah, and one center in Euclid is giving black patients and infants a better and equal shot at health care. Stephen Hernandez has the story.
Here's Dad back. I know.
A place where everyone can be seen, heard, and cared for. The Village of Healing Center on Lakeshore Boulevard in Euclid is the only one of its kind in Cuyahoga County, focusing on health care for black women and infants. Its staff on a mission to make sure to close the health care gap for good.
My community needs someone to step in and stop just talking and actually bring action.
Dana Langford, co-founder of the center, explains how health care for black patients can be dire.
Nationwide, black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die due to childbirthing complications in pregnancy and within that first year postpartum. For every one white baby that dies, 4 black infants die in Cuyahoga County.
This urge to take action is exactly what motivated Langford and Tanisha Gaines to open the center, which has grown to offer all sorts of services. But nurse practitioner Amber Black explains care for black patients goes beyond the services. It's about identity.
Patients come into the office, they're automatically, they have a sense of relief, and they feel that they can trust me with some very vulnerable information.
The services and expansion to care at the center are definitely making an impact, but the staff here isn't ready to say mission accomplished just yet.
As long as disparities are there and outcomes are decreased, absolutely not. It's not mission accomplished at all.
A constant reminder that everyone deserves the right to feel healthy. In Euclid, Stephen Hernandez, 19 News.
I have this thing that I do called my Delulu series, which is cakes that I create that nobody ordered, but I'd say, like, if Beyonce were to call and ask for a cake, this is what I would do.
19 News highlighting Black-owned businesses all this month.
Next, the sweet treats you can find at Cupcake Mama 216.
Welcome back. All this month, Ashley Holder has been highlighting Black businesses here in Northeast Ohio for Black History Month.
Tonight, she takes us to Cupcake Mama 216.
Cakes nowadays push all the limits. Forget the basic icing, decorations, and sprinkles, and bring in multiple layers, extra buttercream, and handcrafted designs.
My main thing I do is custom celebration cakes, from baby showers, birthdays, weddings, bar mitzvahs, you name it. The crazier the better.
Meet Cleveland native Tiara Leftwich, aka Cupcake Mama 216, a baking connoisseur who can bring your over-the-top or classy cakes to fruition. With a following of almost 210,000 fans, Leftwich is taking social media by storm with her cake designs. But no, baking wasn't always her passion. It started from a need for a cake for her son's birthday.
I got on YouTube and Google, and I learned everything I could, and I made this cake. It was a monstrosity. It was not good at all. It tasted okay, but looks-wise, it was very bad. But it kind of sparked something in me. I felt like I wanted to get better at it. I wanted to learn more about it. I was so intrigued by it.
Leftwich put in the hours and work, graduating from YouTube University, a self-made boss in her own right, teaching herself. As her skills grew, so did her presence on social media, and now everyone wants a slice from the cake queen.
I kind of curated my page to the kind of cakes that I enjoyed making, which are like pretty celebration cakes. I have this thing that I do called my Delulu series, which is cakes that I create that nobody ordered, but I'd say, like, if Beyonce were to call and ask for a cake, this is what I would do.
All right, so Beyonce hasn't called yet, but the popular brand Stanley has. Tierra created a Stanley cup that not only resembled their popular cup to a T, but you could also drink out of it. Yes, she drank out of a cake. If you think that's crazy, Leftwich also made a cake that had real fish in it.
It was 4 tiers high, but it had like real fish swimming around, and it was like a gravity-defying one. It was a box of popcorn. It was really crazy.
And of course, it is time consuming. Leftwich says she does make about 10 to 18 cakes within 3 days. Regardless of the occasion, Leftwich says she puts all of her passion and energy into each and every cake.
People really are trusting me when they hire me for their weddings and stuff. I'm like, this is a big deal, one of the biggest days of someone's life. And they actually trust me. That's why I take so much pride in it, and I really give every cake that I make my all.
Tierra isn't only a full-time baker, but she's a mother, a fiance, and also the first entrepreneur out of her family. As Black businesses grow all over the world, Leftwich says it still remains crucial to support them, not only from all people, but especially from other African Americans.
If I have 2 pennies, I'm gonna give one to a Black-owned business. It's just so important to me, and it feels good to see that I'm able to provide something to my people that they could possibly get from somewhere else.
Tierra Leftwich, you are Black history. Ashley Holder, 19 News.
So talented. Well, 19 News will continue to celebrate Black History Month next week, and I can't wait to introduce you to another local trailblazer making a difference every day inside the classroom.
Don't clap it up.
Well, that is Shantae Costin's classroom at Westlake High School. She doesn't really feel like a classroom when you're there. The Northeast Ohio Teacher of the Year makes computer science enjoyable, and that helps students get through this tough course, an atmosphere she didn't always have.
I had a teacher that told me, oh, girls can't do higher math when I failed a class. That's good. It's okay. Girls can't do higher math anyway. And that stuck with me. And I knew if I ever got in a position where I had a kid that was struggling, I was not going to be the reason they struggled.
Well, coming up Monday on 19 News, the one thing she wants students to know, and wait until you hear what they say about her.
All right, can't wait to see that story, Tiffany. And we are sharing more stories of Black excellence, culture, and resilience at cleveland19.com. Scan that QR code. It will take you to the Black History Month section on the homepage. All right, thanks for joining us for this special Black History Month celebrating Cleveland's Trailblazers. But don't go anywhere. Cleveland's only all-weather show, First Alert Focus, begins right now.
Always live, always tracking, always focused on forecasts for you. From Cleveland's most accurate weather team, this is the First Alert Focus.
All right, welcome to First Alert Focus. I'm Tiffany Tucker alongside meteorologist Erica Page and Samantha Roberts. And I understand it's going to be a cold one tomorrow.
20 for high temperatures, by the way. Coldest day of the month, tied with the 17th.
Hard to believe. I mean, we are still in the winter season. We should have been experiencing more of these colder temperatures, but the reality is we got a little spoiled. So let's walk you through some of these bigger changes on the way for your weekend by kind of walking you through what you can expect here over the next couple of days. So let's take you over to the big wall, and we'll actually show you what we are tracking as we go through the rest of today. We're going to take you over here just to give you a better idea of what is going on here as we go through the rest of this evening, especially if you are stepping out and about tonight. So we do have those mainly clear skies in place that were around earlier this evening. We've started to see more of those clouds filtering in, but get ready. The temperature, it's going to turn pretty cold as we go through the overnight tonight. So that is something we are going to have to brace ourselves for. I know we haven't had to say that for, it seems like forever, because we've been so spoiled by this nice weather. But with this colder air will come an opportunity to potentially see some lake effect snow. Remember, the lake really hasn't frozen over. The last time we saw ice was back in January. So any cold air filtering over